Laziness may look attractive, but work gives satisfaction. If you're not where you want to be, if life isn't shaping up the way you hoped, there's a reason for that. And it's not luck, it's not other people, and it's not because you don't have what it takes. It's because you're letting laziness win. You're putting things off, waiting for the right moment, waiting to feel ready. But let me tell you something, there is no right moment. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Every day that you let laziness take over, you're making a choice to stay where you are, a choice to let opportunities pass you by, a choice to live the same day over and over again. And before you know it, weeks go by, months go by, years go by, and nothing changes. Now you might tell yourself, I just don't feel motivated. But here's the truth. Motivation isn't the problem. Motivation comes and goes. The real problem is that you're relying on motivation when you should be relying on discipline. People who succeed don't wait to feel like doing the work. They do it anyway, because they understand something most people don't. Hard work is uncomfortable, but regret is worse. And if you don't start now, if you keep making excuses, one day you're going to look back and wish you had. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of watching others move ahead while you stay the same, then it's time to do something about it. It's time to take control. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything at once. But you do have to start right now, today, because your future depends on what you do, not what you plan to do. So let's talk about what's really holding you back and how you can break free from it once and for all. Number one, comfort is the enemy of progress. Comfort feels good, doesn't it? It's easy, it's familiar. It doesn't ask much from you. But here's the truth. Comfort is holding you back. It's keeping you stuck in the same place, doing the same things, living the same life. And if you don't break out of it, you will wake up one day and realize that years have passed and nothing has changed. No progress, no growth, just wasted time. And time, that's something you can never get back. People love to talk about success. They admire those who have built something great, who have pushed themselves beyond what seemed possible. But what they don't see is the struggle, the sacrifice, the discomfort. Because real success doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from doing what's hard. It comes from stepping out of your comfort zone, taking risks, pushing yourself when you don't feel like it. And most people are unwilling to do that. They choose what feels good in the moment, instead of what will benefit them in the long run. Look around. The world is filled with people who have dreams, ideas, and ambitions, but they never act on them. They say they want to be successful, but they are unwilling to be uncomfortable. They want to be fit, but they don't want to push through the workouts. They want financial freedom, but they don't want to put in the hours. They want to build something great, but they waste their time on distractions instead. And that's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they aren't capable, but because they aren't willing to let go of comfort. Comfort is a trap. It tricks you into thinking you're okay where you are. It tells you that you have time, that you can start tomorrow, that you don't need to push yourself today. But the truth is, every time you choose comfort over action, you are falling behind. While you're sleeping in, someone else is working. While you're making excuses, someone else is taking steps forward. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The people who win in life are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who were willing to be uncomfortable. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about effort. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the things that make you uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens. Think about it. When was the last time you really pushed yourself? When was the last time you did something that scared you? If you can't remember, that's a problem. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you step into the unknown, when you challenge yourself, when you do the hard things. And here's something most people don't want to hear. Success is not supposed to be comfortable. If it were easy, everyone would have it. Everyone would be rich, fit, successful, and fulfilled. But they're not. Because the majority of people choose comfort over progress. They choose to stay in bed instead of waking up early. They choose to watch TV instead of learning a new skill. They choose to take the easy route, and then they wonder why they aren't getting anywhere. You have to make a decision. Do you want to stay where you are, or do you want more? Because if you want more, you have to start doing what's uncomfortable. You have to wake up earlier. You have to work harder. You have to stop making excuses. Because every excuse you make today is stealing from your future. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you are pushing your goals further away. The truth is, nothing changes until you do. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you don't take action, you will stay exactly where you are. And that should scare you. Because life is short. Every second you waste is a second you can't get back. So ask yourself, what do you really want? Do you want to look back 5 years from now and realize you are still in the same place? Or do you want to look back and see progress, growth, success? The choice is yours. But understand this, the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more you stay in your comfort zone, the harder it becomes to break out of it. And before you know it, years will have passed, and you'll be filled with nothing but regret. Regret is painful. It's worse than discomfort. It's worse than hard work. Because at least with hard work, you get results. With regret, you get nothing. And the only way to avoid regret is to take action now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now start small. But take one step today. Wake up earlier. Do that workout. Make that call. Work on that business idea. Just do something. Because action creates momentum. And once you start, it gets easier. Discipline yourself. Push yourself. Because if you don't, you will always be stuck. And if you're not willing to push yourself, don't expect life to change. Don't expect success. Don't expect growth. Because comfort is the enemy of progress. And if you want progress, you have to kill your laziness and get to work. Number 2, laziness feeds self-doubt. Action builds confidence. There's something dangerous about laziness that most people don't realize. It's not just about wasting time or missing opportunities. It's deeper than that. Laziness does something to your mind. It weakens you. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you question whether you're even capable of doing the things you once believed were possible. And if you let it take over, you won't just be lazy. You'll start feeling like you're not good enough. Like success is meant for other people, not you. That's the real danger. Laziness feeds self-doubt. And the longer you stay in that state, the harder it becomes to break out of it. You've probably experienced this before. You tell yourself you'll start something, a workout, a new habit, a project, but instead you keep putting it off. At first, it's just procrastination. You think, "I'll do it later," but as time goes on, you start feeling guilty about not doing it. Then that guilt turns into doubt. Maybe I'm just not disciplined enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. And once those thoughts enter your mind, you start believing them. You lose confidence in yourself, not because you're actually incapable, but because you've allowed laziness to create that illusion. The truth is, confidence doesn't come from sitting around and waiting for it. Confidence is built through action. When you do something, when you take even the smallest step, you prove to yourself that you can. And once you see that you can, you start believing in yourself more. That's how confidence grows. It's not something you're born with. It's something you earn through effort. Think about a time when you accomplished something difficult. Maybe it was a test you passed, a skill you learned, or a goal you achieved. How did you feel afterward? You felt good. You felt strong. You felt capable. That feeling didn't come from thinking about doing it. It came from actually doing it. The action itself created confidence. And that's the secret most people don't understand. Confidence isn't a requirement for taking action. Taking action is what creates confidence. But most people get this backward. They wait to feel ready. They think, once I feel more confident, I'll start. But that day never comes. They stay stuck, waiting for a feeling that only action can create. And as more time passes, they start doubting themselves even more. They see other people moving forward, and instead of feeling inspired, they feel like they're falling behind. That's what laziness does. It creates a cycle of self-doubt that gets harder and harder to escape. The only way to break that cycle is to take action now. No matter how small, even if you don't feel like it, even if you're unsure, even if you're scared. The moment you start, you begin to take control back. The moment you do something, you weaken laziness and strengthen confidence. And the more you push yourself to take action, the stronger that confidence becomes. People often say they lack motivation, but motivation isn't the problem. Action creates motivation. If you sit around waiting for motivation to hit, you might be waiting forever. But if you take the first step, if you just get moving, you'll notice something interesting. The motivation you were waiting for suddenly appears. That's because action forces your mind to engage. Once you start, you don't want to stop. It's like pushing a heavy object. The hardest part is getting it to move. But once it's rolling, momentum takes over. This applies to everything in life. If you want to feel more confident about your ability to succeed, start working toward your goals now. If you want to feel better about yourself physically, start exercising today. If you want to improve your skills, start practicing. Even if you start small, it's better than doing nothing. And the more you do, the stronger you become. Every time you choose action over laziness, you are reinforcing a belief in yourself. You are telling yourself, I can do this. And with each step forward, that belief gets stronger. On the other hand, every time you let laziness win, you weaken that belief. You make it harder to trust yourself. And the longer you let that continue, the more powerless you feel. That's why some people never break free. They let self-doubt take over completely. And before they know it, years have passed, and they're still stuck in the same place. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can break out of it right now. You can take control back. The key is to stop overthinking and just start. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just take action. Even if it's something small, just do it. Because that one action will lead to another. And before you know it, you'll have built momentum. Imagine looking back a year from now and realizing you made massive progress, not because you were lucky, not because you were special, but because you decided to take action when others hesitated. Imagine feeling stronger, more confident, more in control of your life, all because you refused to let laziness win. That feeling is worth every struggle, every challenge, every uncomfortable moment. Laziness is the enemy. It's stealing your potential. It's feeding your doubts. And the only way to kill it is through action. So stop waiting. Stop second-guessing yourself. Get up, get moving, and prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Because once you take control, nothing can stop you. Number 3, you're not tired. You're just unfocused. Most people walk around thinking they're exhausted, drained, completely out of energy. They say, I'm tired, every single day. But here's the truth. Most of them aren't actually tired. They're just unfocused. They wake up without a plan, go through the day reacting instead of acting, and by the end of it, they feel like they've been through a battle. But it wasn't a battle of hard work. It was a battle of distraction, wasted time, and indecision. That kind of exhaustion doesn't come from effort. It comes from a lack of direction. And the worst part, it makes you believe that you don't have the energy to change your life. When you're focused, something changes. You've felt it before. Think about the times when you were completely locked in, working on something that mattered to you. Hours passed, but you didn't feel tired. You felt alive. You weren't worried about how much time was left in the day. You weren't looking for an escape. You were engaged. And because of that, your energy was high. That's the power of focus. It doesn't just help you get things done. It fuels you. But when you're unfocused, it's the opposite. You check your phone 100 times. You switch from one task to another without really finishing anything. You spend more time thinking about what you should do instead of actually doing it. And by the end of the day, you feel drained, not because you worked hard, but because you let distractions control your mind. That's not real exhaustion. That's mental chaos. Your brain is not designed to constantly switch between tasks. Every time you get distracted, you lose momentum. And when you lose momentum, everything feels harder. That's why unfocused people always feel like they're struggling. They wake up tired, not because they need more sleep, but because they waste so much mental energy on things that don't matter. They let social media, notifications, and random thoughts steal their attention. And when the day is over, they wonder why they feel so burned out. If you want to stop feeling tired all the time, you need to fix your focus. You need to wake up with a clear plan. You need to decide what actually matters and eliminate everything that doesn't. Because once you do that, you'll realize you're not as tired as you thought. You've just been wasting too much energy on the wrong things. Look at the most successful people in any field. Do you think they have more energy than you? No, they have the same 24 hours. The difference is, they don't waste it. They don't sit around scrolling through distractions. They don't let their minds wander aimlessly. They decide what needs to be done, and they do it. And because of that, they have more energy. Not because they're superhuman, but because they're focused. Your energy is limited. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of mental power. And if you use it on things that don't matter, you'll have nothing left for the things that do. That's why you feel tired before you even start working on your goals. That's why you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. It's not because you don't have the energy. It's because you've spent it on distractions. Imagine if instead of wasting your energy on things that don't push you forward, you put all of it into your goals. Imagine how much progress you would make. Imagine how much stronger you would feel. Instead of saying I'm too tired, you would say I'm getting things done. Instead of feeling drained, you would feel unstoppable. That's what focus does. It doesn't just make you productive, it makes you powerful. But here's the thing. Focus doesn't just happen. You have to create it. You have to train your mind to stay locked in. And that starts with removing distractions. If you know your phone is a problem, put it away. If you know certain people drain your energy, stop giving them your time. If you know you're wasting hours on things that don't matter, cut them out. Because until you do that, you'll keep feeling tired. Start small. Choose one thing to focus on today. Just one. And don't let anything pull you away from it. The more you practice this, the stronger your focus will become. And as your focus grows, your energy will too. Because when you're locked in on what matters, you don't feel tired, you feel driven. Stop telling yourself you're exhausted, when the truth is, you're just distracted. Take control of your focus, and you'll take control of your energy. And once you do that, nothing will be able to stop you. Number 4. The more you wait, the harder it gets. Every day you wait, every moment you hesitate, you make things harder for yourself. That's the truth. Not just in work, not just in success, but in everything. Waiting makes things heavier. It makes simple tasks feel overwhelming. It turns small responsibilities into mountains. And worst of all, it strengthens the habit of doing nothing. Because every time you delay something, you train your mind to avoid action. You teach yourself that hesitation is normal, that putting things off is acceptable. And the longer you do that, the harder it becomes to break free. Think about it. Have you ever had something small to do, maybe a 5-minute task, but you told yourself, I'll do it later. Then later came, and you still didn't do it. A day passed, maybe a week, and suddenly, this little thing that could have been done in minutes now feels like a burden. You don't even know why, but it's heavier. It's mentally exhausting, just thinking about it. Why? Because when you wait, things don't just stay the same. They grow in your mind, they expand. They collect fear, doubt, and stress. They become a source of guilt. And now instead of just doing the task, you're battling your own emotions about it. That's what waiting does. It multiplies the weight of everything. And it doesn't stop with small things. It's the same with your big goals. The more you delay, the harder they get. You tell yourself, I'll start next week. Then next week comes, and you push it further. And every time you do that, your belief in yourself weakens. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not ready. Maybe I'll never be ready. That's how people lose years of their life. By waiting. By convincing themselves that a better time will come. But here's what you have to understand. There is no better time. There is no perfect moment. The only thing waiting does is take your dreams and turn them into regrets. And let's be real. The excuses you're using to wait, they don't hold up. You tell yourself, I don't have enough time right now. But what happens? You still waste time on things that don't matter. You tell yourself, I'm too tired. But somehow, you still have energy to scroll through your phone, to watch TV, to do everything except the thing you claim you're too tired for. Be honest with yourself. You're not waiting because of real reasons. You're waiting because of fear, doubt, and the habit of postponing things. And those things will never go away by themselves. They don't disappear with time. They disappear with action. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. And the worst time, it's someday. Because someday never comes. Someday is just another way of saying never. And every person who failed to reach their goals has one thing in common. They waited too long. They told themselves, I'll do it when I feel ready. But readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. You have work to do. You have goals that need your attention. You have a future that is being decided by what you do right now. If you keep waiting, you're making everything harder for yourself. You're making progress harder. You're making self-discipline harder. You're making your own belief in yourself weaker. Because every time you delay, you add another brick to the wall between you and your success. And one day, if you're not careful, that wall will be too high to climb. So stop waiting. Start moving. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a huge step. It just has to be now. Because once you start, once you push past the first moment of hesitation, everything gets easier. Action creates momentum. Momentum makes things lighter. And before you know it, what once felt impossible now feels normal. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. That's the power of starting. And the sooner you embrace that, the faster your life will change. Number 5. Success comes from what you do daily, not occasionally. Success is not something you stumble upon. It's not a lucky break or a one-time effort. It's what you do every single day. It's the small, consistent actions that build up over time. People love to talk about big moments, about breakthroughs, about sudden success. But the truth is, no success is sudden. What looks like an overnight success is just years of daily effort that no one saw. Most people want results, but they don't want the routine that creates results. They want to get fit, but they don't want to commit to daily workouts. They want financial freedom, but they don't want to manage their money every day. They want to master a skill, but they only practice when they feel like it. That's not how success works. It doesn't respond to occasional effort. It responds to what you do consistently, to what you make a part of your life. The person who shows up every day, even in small ways, will always win over the person who works hard once in a while. Look at anyone who has built something great, whether it's a career, a business, or a strong body. The one thing they all have in common is daily discipline. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every single day that moves you forward. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Because every time you do it, you reinforce the habit. And habits shape your life far more than motivation ever will. The problem is, most people don't have a daily system. They work in bursts. They get excited for a few days, maybe a few weeks, and then they stop. They wait until they feel motivated again. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you're depending on motivation, you'll always be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of progress. If you want real success, you need a system, a non-negotiable routine, something you do every day, no matter what. Think about it. If you exercise once in a while, will you get fit? If you eat healthy for a few days and then go back to junk food, will you see real change? If you work on your goals only when you feel inspired, will you ever reach them? The answer is obvious. Success is a reflection of your daily habits, not your occasional bursts of effort. And here's the thing. What you do daily is also shaping your failures. If you spend every day procrastinating, avoiding work, wasting time, that's what compounds. That becomes your life. People think failure happens all at once, but it doesn't. Just like success, failure is built day by day. Every bad habit, every ignored responsibility, every small excuse adds up. And before you know it, you're stuck. Not because of one big mistake, but because of daily choices that led you there. So you have to ask yourself, what are you building? Every single day, you are either building success or building regret. You are moving forward or you are falling behind. There is no in-between. If you're not working towards something daily, you're losing time, losing progress, losing opportunities. And time doesn't care about your excuses. Whether you use it or waste it, time keeps moving. And one day you'll look back and see exactly where your daily habits have led you. If you want success, build the habits that create it. Make progress a daily requirement, not an occasional choice. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be consistent. Because success is not a single moment. It's a collection of small efforts, repeated every day. Number 6. Doing something is always better than doing nothing. There's a simple truth that most people overlook. Doing something, even if it's small, is always better than doing nothing. Too many people get stuck in their thoughts, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect motivation. But while they're waiting, time keeps moving. And every day that passes without action is a day wasted. The problem is, most people think that if they can't do something big, they shouldn't do anything at all. They believe that if they can't work out for an hour, then skipping the gym is okay. If they don't have time to start a big project, then they might as well put it off completely. If they don't feel like giving 100%, they won't even try. That's the biggest mistake anyone can make. Because what really matters isn't how much you do in one day. It's that you do something, no matter how small. Think about it. If you do just one push-up today, it's better than doing none. If you write one sentence, it's better than writing nothing. If you take one small step toward your goal, it's better than standing still. Because small actions add up. They build momentum. And most importantly, they keep you in the game. Too many people wait for motivation to take action. But motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll feel like doing the work. Some days you won't. But the people who succeed are the ones who show up. No matter what. They understand that waiting for the perfect conditions is a trap. Because perfection doesn't exist. If you wait for motivation, you'll spend most of your life waiting. But if you start now, even with something small, you'll create your own momentum. Look at successful people in any field. They didn't get there overnight. They didn't wait until they had it all figured out. They just started. They did what they could with what they had. And because they kept showing up, they got better, they got stronger, and eventually they became unstoppable. The truth is, the more you take action, the easier it gets. Action creates more action. Once you start moving, even in a small way, it becomes easier to keep going. But if you do nothing, it becomes easier to keep doing nothing. Think about the last time you avoided something because it felt overwhelming. Maybe you needed to clean your room, study for an exam, or start a workout routine. At first it seemed like too much. But the moment you started, even if it was just picking up one item, reading one page or doing one rep, you realized it wasn't as bad as you thought. That's how action works. It breaks the mental barrier that keeps you stuck. The hardest part is always getting started. But once you do, you realize you can keep going. This is why consistency is so powerful. It's not about making huge progress in one day. It's about making small progress every day. And the more you do, the more confident you become. Because confidence doesn't come from thinking about success. It comes from taking action. The more you prove to yourself that you can do something, the more you believe in yourself. But when you do nothing, you start to doubt yourself. You start to question if you're capable, if you're disciplined enough, if you even deserve success. And that kind of thinking keeps you stuck. That's why doing something, no matter how small, is always better than doing nothing. Because every action, no matter how tiny, is proof that you're moving forward. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop overthinking. Stop making excuses. Do something, anything, that moves you forward. Because success isn't about making huge leaps. It's about taking small steps every single day. And if you commit to that, there's nothing you can't achieve. Number 7. Feeling unmotivated. Start small, but start now. There will be days when you don't feel like doing anything. Days when you wake up, look at everything you need to do and think, I just don't have the energy for this. You sit there staring at your phone, scrolling, distracting yourself, convincing yourself that maybe later, maybe tomorrow, you'll feel different. But let me tell you something important. The longer you wait for motivation, the less likely it is to come. You don't need motivation to start. You just need to start. No matter how small, no matter how insignificant it seems. Because once you start, something incredible happens. Momentum kicks in, and momentum is more powerful than any burst of motivation you could ever wait for. Think about it. How many times have you sat around waiting to feel ready before doing something important? Maybe it was starting that workout plan, fixing your resume, studying for that test, or making that phone call. And in the end, what happened? Either you never did it, or you rushed at the last minute because time ran out. And what's worse, you probably felt guilty, frustrated, maybe even angry with yourself for wasting time. That's what waiting does. It doesn't make things easier. It makes things harder. It adds more pressure. It creates stress. And worst of all, it makes you believe that you're not capable, that you don't have what it takes, that maybe you're just lazy, but you're not lazy. You just haven't learned how to move without waiting to feel like it. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. The people who succeed, the ones who seem unstoppable, they don't always feel like doing the work either. They don't wake up every morning feeling excited, energized, and eager to tackle the day. No, just like you, they wake up tired sometimes. Just like you, they have moments of doubt, frustration, and resistance. But do you know what makes them different? They've trained themselves to act before their feelings catch up. They understand that action comes first. Motivation comes second. That's the difference. Most people wait to feel good before they start. Successful people start, and that's why they eventually feel good. So let's talk about starting small, because I know what you might be thinking. Okay, I get it. I need to start. But what if I just don't have the energy? What if I feel completely drained? Simple. Start with the smallest possible action. If you need to work out, don't commit to an hour at the gym. Just do 10 push-ups. If you need to write a report, don't stress about finishing the whole thing. Just write one sentence. If you need to clean your room, don't aim to do it all at once. Just pick up one thing. And here's what happens when you do that. Your brain switches modes. It goes from thinking, this is too much, I can't do this, to okay, I can handle this. And before you know it, you're doing more than you planned because now you've built momentum. This is the secret. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's getting started. The moment you start, even if it's tiny, you break the cycle of hesitation. You shut down that inner voice telling you, not now, later. You prove to yourself that you're in control, not your emotions, not your doubts, not your excuses. And that proof, that's where confidence comes from. Not from waiting, not from hoping, but from taking action. The biggest mistake people make is believing they need to change everything overnight. That's why they stay stuck. They think, I need a complete life transformation, and the thought overwhelms them. So they do nothing. But success isn't built on big, dramatic changes. It's built on tiny, consistent steps. The people who achieve incredible things didn't do it all at once. They started small, but they didn't stop. That's the key. You don't have to take massive action today. You just have to take some action, because something is always better than nothing. Now let's talk about what happens if you don't start. If you keep waiting, if you keep putting things off, what do you think happens? Do things magically improve? Does your energy suddenly come back? No. What happens is time passes. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and you're in the same place, maybe even worse. Because not only have you lost time, but you've also lost belief in yourself. Every time you delay, you send a message to yourself that says, I can't do this. And that message sticks. It becomes part of your identity. And once that happens, it's even harder to break free. But the good news, you can break free right now. No need to wait until next week, next month, or next year. You don't need the perfect conditions. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to move. And when you do, everything starts changing. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, your belief strengthens, and before you know it, you've built a habit of action. And when action becomes your habit, laziness disappears, doubt fades, and success, it becomes inevitable. So here's your challenge. Right now, today, before this day ends, do something, anything, something you've been avoiding, something you've been putting off. It doesn't matter how small it is. Just prove to yourself that you can start. Because the moment you do, you'll realize that all this time, it wasn't motivation you needed. It was movement. And now you know exactly how to create it. Number 8. Hard work feels uncomfortable, but regret feels worse. There is always a choice in life. Either you choose the discomfort of hard work or the agony of regret. One is temporary, but the other stays with you forever. And that's what separates successful people from those who only dream about success. Hard work will challenge you. It will exhaust you. And at times it will make you question yourself. But what's worse? Looking back years from now and realizing you let your potential slip away because you wanted to stay comfortable, because you avoided the struggle, because you let laziness, procrastination, and excuses steal your future. Regret is one of the most painful things a person can experience. Because unlike hard work, you can't undo it. You can't go back in time and change the fact that you wasted opportunities. You can't go back and push yourself harder, work longer, or take action when you had the chance. Time doesn't care about your excuses. And the truth is, every single day you put things off, every single time you let comfort win, you are building a future filled with regret. And one day you'll wake up and realize that it's too late, that the window of opportunity has closed, that someone else, someone who chose hard work over comfort, is living the life you wanted. And at that moment you would do anything, absolutely anything, to go back and choose discipline instead. Hard work isn't fun. It isn't glamorous. It doesn't always give you immediate results. But what it does give you is control over your future. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you are investing in yourself. You are building something bigger than just today. You are creating a life that one day you'll be proud of. That's why the discomfort of hard work is always worth it, because it leads to something greater. It leads to growth, to success, to confidence. The thing about success is that it doesn't come from one big action. It doesn't happen overnight. It comes from the little choices you make every single day. Every time you get up early instead of sleeping in. Every time you stay focused instead of getting distracted. Every time you push through when you don't feel like it. Those choices may not seem like much in the moment, but over time they add up. And before you know it, you've built momentum. You've built discipline. You've built the kind of life that others admire. But only you understand how much work it took. Most people never reach their full potential because they avoid discomfort. They don't want to feel tired. They don't want to struggle. They don't want to push themselves past what feels easy. And because of that, they stay stuck. Stuck in the same job they hate. Stuck in the same cycle of procrastination. Stuck in the same life that they secretly wish they could change. But here's the truth. If you don't make sacrifices for the life you want, the life you have becomes the sacrifice. And regret is a heavy burden to carry. When you choose hard work, you are choosing to take control of your life. You are choosing to be the kind of person who doesn't give up, who doesn't let excuses define them, who doesn't let fear or doubt hold them back. Because here's what happens when you push through the struggle. You become stronger. Every challenge you overcome makes you more resilient. Every bit of effort you put in builds your confidence. And eventually the things that once seemed impossible become second nature. The secret to success isn't motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's easy to feel motivated in the beginning. But what happens when that feeling fades? What happens when you don't feel like working out? When you don't feel like studying? When you don't feel like doing what needs to be done? That's when discipline matters. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward, when motivation is nowhere to be found. Discipline is what separates winners from the people who spend their lives wondering what if. You don't have to feel like it. You don't have to be in the mood. You just have to do it. Because the more you take action, the more momentum you build. And the more momentum you build, the easier it becomes. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. The hardest part is starting. But once you do, you realize that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. And when you start seeing results, when you start proving to yourself that you can do it, that's when everything changes. But if you keep waiting for the right time, you'll be waiting forever. If you keep making excuses, you'll wake up years from now wondering where all that time went. The difference between successful people and those who never reach their goals isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's the willingness to do what's necessary, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like nothing is happening. So what will you choose? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? One will make you stronger. The other will eat away at you for the rest of your life. The decision is yours, because at the end of the day, no one can do the work for you. No one can make you get up and take action. No one can force you to go after your dreams. But if you choose to do what's hard now, your future self will thank you. Regret is avoidable. You just have to be willing to endure the short-term struggle for the long-term reward. Because when you look back, you'll never wish you had worked less. You'll never wish you had been lazier. You'll wish you had started sooner. You'll wish you had pushed harder. And the only way to make sure that never happens is to start now. To put in the work. To stop letting excuses hold you back. Hard work feels uncomfortable, but regret feels worse. The choice is yours. Number 9, if others can do it, so can you. The people you admire, the ones who have built incredible businesses, mastered their craft, transformed their bodies, created wealth, or achieved greatness in any area of life. They are not superhuman. They don't have some secret advantage that makes them different from you. They started where you are, with doubts, with struggles, with setbacks, but they made one decision that changed everything. They refused to believe that success was only for special people. They refused to believe that their dreams were out of reach. They saw others doing it, and instead of feeling jealous or thinking, I could never do that, they said, if they can do it, so can I. That's the mindset shift that separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Too many people see successful individuals and immediately assume they had it easier. They think, oh, they were just lucky, or they had connections, or they were born talented. That kind of thinking will keep you exactly where you are. Because the moment you convince yourself that success is only for certain people, you give yourself an excuse not to try. You tell yourself that you're different, that it's harder for you, that you don't have what it takes. And that belief will chain you to mediocrity for the rest of your life. But the truth is, the people who have made it to the top didn't start with all the answers. They didn't know everything. They weren't experts when they began. They figured it out along the way. They faced the same doubts you have, but instead of letting those doubts control them, they took action anyway. They made mistakes, they failed, they struggled, but they kept moving forward. And that's the only difference between them and the people who never make it. Think about it. Everything you know today, everything you're good at, there was a time when you weren't. Walking, talking, reading, driving a car. There was a time when you didn't know how to do any of those things. But you learned. You improved. You got better. Success works the same way. The people who are great at something weren't born that way. They became that way. And if they can do it, so can you. The problem is most people never even try. They let fear stop them before they even begin. They think, what if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I'm not good enough? But here's the real question. What if you never even give yourself a chance? What if you let fear and doubt steal your future? What if the only thing stopping you from living the life you want is your own mindset? Because that's the truth. The only thing standing between you and success is the belief that you can do it. And here's something you need to understand. Nobody starts as the best. Nobody starts with everything figured out. Every champion was once a beginner. Every master was once a student. The difference is they were willing to be bad at something before they became great. They were willing to look foolish. They were willing to struggle because they knew that was part of the process. They knew that no one wakes up one day and suddenly has everything they ever wanted. They knew that success is earned through effort, discipline, and persistence. You have to stop putting people on a pedestal and thinking they're different from you. They're not. They have the same 24 hours in a day. They feel the same emotions. They deal with setbacks and failures. But they don't let those things stop them. They use them as fuel. They use them as lessons. And most importantly, they never stop pushing forward. What's stopping you from doing the same? What's stopping you from starting that business? Getting in shape, learning a new skill, or going after the life you truly want? If someone else has done it, that means it's possible. And if it's possible, you can do it too. But you have to start. You have to take the first step. You have to stop doubting yourself and realize that the only thing separating you from success is effort. Look around. There are people who came from nothing, people who had no advantages, people who had every excuse to fail, and they still made it. They still found a way. So what excuse do you have? What's really holding you back? It's not your circumstances. It's not your background. It's not your lack of resources. It's your mindset. And once you change that, once you truly believe that success is possible for you, everything changes. Because when you believe in yourself, you take action. And when you take action, you gain experience. And when you gain experience, you improve. And when you improve, you get results. That's how the process works. But it all starts with believing that you can. It starts with looking at those who have done it before you and realizing they are proof that it's possible. Success isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone who's willing to put in the work. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself that you're different, that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes. If others can do it, so can you. But you have to start now. You have to commit. You have to decide that you are done sitting on the sidelines, watching others succeed. You are done letting doubt control your future. You are done waiting for someone to give you permission. This is your time. This is your moment. And if you're willing to push through the fear, if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to believe in yourself, there is nothing stopping you. So get up, get moving, and prove to yourself what you are truly capable of. Because if they can do it, so can you. Number 10. Discipline is freedom. Laziness is a trap. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, with no restrictions, no rules, and no structure. They think freedom is about avoiding discipline, skipping the hard work, and taking the easy path. But that's a lie. Real freedom isn't about avoiding responsibility. It's about taking full control of your life. And the only way to do that is through discipline. Because without discipline, you're not free. You're trapped. Trapped in bad habits, trapped in regrets, trapped in a cycle of procrastination and wasted potential. Discipline is the key that unlocks everything you want in life. Laziness, on the other hand, is a slow poison that robs you of your future. Think about it. When you don't have discipline, life controls you instead of you controlling life. You sleep in because you don't feel like waking up early. You skip workouts because you're not in the mood. You procrastinate on your goals because you'd rather scroll through your phone. And every time you choose the easy path, every time you give in to laziness, you're reinforcing the habit of weakness. You're training yourself to be a slave to your emotions, to your distractions, to your temporary desires. That's not freedom. That's self-imposed imprisonment. The truth is, discipline gives you the ability to choose your future. It gives you the power to wake up early and get things done, even when you don't feel like it. It gives you the strength to work hard now so you can enjoy the rewards later. It gives you the control to say no to distractions and yes to your goals. And when you live with discipline, you don't become weaker, you become stronger. You don't become restricted, you become limitless. Because now you're not controlled by your moods. You're not at the mercy of your feelings. You're in charge. Look at the most successful people in any field: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. What do they all have in common? Discipline. They don't rely on motivation. They don't wait until they feel like doing the work. They show up every single day, no matter what. They put in the hours. They sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term success. And they refuse to make excuses. That's why they win. That's why they achieve things that others only dream about. And you can do the same, but only if you choose discipline over laziness. Laziness feels good in the moment. Sleeping in, watching TV all day, avoiding hard work. It's comfortable, it's easy, it's tempting. But over time, it destroys you. It weakens your mind. It kills your potential. It makes you feel stuck, unmotivated, and unfulfilled. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more. Deep down, you know you were meant for something greater. And every time you choose laziness over discipline, you're betraying yourself. You're stealing from your own future. But here's the good news. Discipline is a choice. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. And the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. At first, it's hard. Waking up early is hard. Staying consistent is hard. Pushing through discomfort is hard. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And eventually, discipline becomes who you are. It stops being something you force yourself to do and starts being something you can't live without. And that's when you become truly free. Because when you're disciplined, you don't have to rely on motivation. You don't have to wait for the right time. You just do the work. You take action. You build habits that make success inevitable. And that's what separates winners from losers. Winners understand that freedom comes from structure. They know that by doing the hard things now, they create an easier life later. Losers, on the other hand, choose the easy path now and suffer for it later. And the choice is yours. So ask yourself, do you want to be in control of your life? Or do you want to be controlled by laziness? Do you want real freedom? Or do you want to stay trapped in excuses? Because the only way to break free, the only way to take your life to the next level, is to embrace discipline. Not once in a while, not just when you feel like it. Every single day. It won't be easy. It will take sacrifice. It will take effort. But in the end, it will all be worth it. Because discipline is the key to everything you want. And the moment you stop running from it, the moment you commit to it, your entire life will change. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Take control. Choose discipline. Choose freedom. And watch what happens. No one is going to do it for you. No one is going to push you out of bed. No one is going to force you to chase your dreams. It's all on you. And that's the best news you could ever hear. Because it means you have full control. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait for motivation. You just have to decide. Laziness is the enemy. It steals your time, your confidence, your future. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you push your dreams further away. And one day, if you're not careful, you'll look back and realize you wasted the most valuable thing you had, time. But here's the good news. It's never too late to change. It starts with one decision, one action, one step forward. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Because success isn't built in a day. It's built in the small choices you make every single day. So don't wait. Don't let laziness win. Do something today, no matter how small, that moves you forward. Because in the end, you won't regret the hard work. You won't regret the struggle. But you will regret the time you wasted, doing nothing. You have work to do. Your future is waiting. Go make it happen.